Hello everyone and welcome to a new lesson in the Arabic language course for beginners. Today we will cover the lesson, the nunation in Arabic, which we call it التنوين. First, let's learn what is nunation. It's an additional consonant, noon, that follows the end of the noun. It's pronounced but not written. In other words, you can hear the letter noon when I say the word, but you don't see it written on the letter. There are three types of التنوين. The first one, the accusative nunation, which we call it تنوين الفتح أو تنوين النصب. In other words, you can say تنوين الفتح or تنوين النصب. The second one, the nominative nunation, which we call it تنوين الضم or تنوين الرفع. The last one is the governed nunation, which we call it تنوين الكسر or تنوين الجر. And now we're going to learn how to write each of the three nunation types. The first one is تنوين الفتح or تنوين النصب. It consists of two fatha, double fatha, placed above the last letter of the word. The second one is تنوين الضم or تنوين الرفع. This one consists of two dhamma. Double dhamma are placed above the last letter of the word as well. The last one is تنوين الكسر or تنوين الجر. This one is a little different than the previous ones because the place of it, if you can notice, it consists of two kasra, double kasra, but this one is placed below. The previous ones were placed above the last letter, but for kasra, you have to put it below the last letter of the word. And now we will see some of the most important rules for التنوين. The first rule is talking about the definition. All the nouns that are defined by the, it's not possible to be adding any nunation to them. For example, the word the book, which means al-kitab. It's wrong to put any kind of tanween above it. For example, if I will say al-kitaban, it's not correct because I already have al, which is the definition particle, like the. Also, it's not correct to say al-kitabun. When you see al, the nunation or the tanween will be disappearing. And the same thing goes for tanween al-jar. Since I have al at the beginning of the word, it's not possible to add any kind of nunation at the end of the word. So, I have the, you will delete التنوين from the end of the word. The second rule. The nunation is added only to indefinite nouns, nouns without the definition. So this is opposite of the previous rule. I mean by that, any noun that doesn't have the particle, you have to add one of the three nunation to it. For example, you can put the accusative nunation, the nominative one, or the governed noun. It's depending on the place of this word in the syntax analysis for the word. Let's have the example kitab, which means a book. I will say kitaban. This is تنوين النصب. كتاب تنوين الرفع. كتاب تنوين الجر. Did you notice? Three of these words are correct because I don't have L. So, any noun that doesn't have L in its word, you need to add one of the three nunations to it. The third rule, which is consisting only with the accusative nunation, or which we call it تنوين النصب. Let's see this. When placing the accusative nunation, or which we call it تنوين النصب, the letter alif should be added to the end of the word. Then, the accusative nunation should be placed above it. So, in this case, for the accusative nunation, or which we call it Tanween al-Nasb, it needs an assistant. The assistant here is the letter Alif. So you will add the letter Alif, and above the letter Alif, you will put Tanween al-Nasb. Let's make it clear with some examples. The first word here is pen, which means qalam. I cannot immediately write the nunation on the letter, so this is not correct. You will say qalam man. No, not correct to write it this way. This is the right way. You will add assistant alif and then tanween al-nasb will be above. qalaman, qalaman. The second word is chair, kursi. Again, not correct to write it immediately above the last letter. It's not correct. You want to make it right, you have to add assistant alif and then tanween al-nasb will be above. Kursiyan. The third example is dog, which means kelb. Also, it's not correct to add nunation above the ba directly. Not correct. The correct way to write it is kalban. Add alif and then above the alif you will put tanween al-nasb. So the word qalam, qalaman, kursi, kursiyan, kalb, kalban. There is exceptions for this rule. In the case of nouns ending in ta marbuta or alif mahmuza or alif and hamza, here we don't add the letter alif. In this case, if I have a noun ending with one of these three letters, you don't need the assistant here. But we put the accusative nunation, you will put tanween al-nasb directly, immediately above the last letter. Let's make it clear with some examples. The first word I have is a girl, which means fatat. Did you notice the word is ending with ta marbuta? So in this case, I don't need the assistant. Here, I don't need alif. That's why you will write tanween al-nasb directly above the ta. Fatat will be fatatan. Another example, water, which means ma. You need to look at the noun first. It's ending with alif and hamza. So, in this case, I don't need the assistant alif, not right to have it. You need to put tanween al-nasb directly above the last letter. It will be ma'an. And the third example is the word part, which means marfa. Look at the last letter, it's alif mahmuza. I mean alif and hamza above. So again, do I need to get my assistant here? No. Since the word is ending with alif by itself, so you just need to add tanween al-nasb directly above the last letter, which is alif. It will be marfa'an. And as I told you, this is only consisting of the tanween al-nasb, the accusative nunation. The other one, which is tanween al-rafa' or tanween al-jar, I don't need to add any assistant. This tanween will be added directly on the last letter. Here, we need to highlight a very common mistake between most of the students. So we need to be aware of this. Do and don't. Let's have an example, this word, which means miftah, a key. This is right to write it. Miftahan. You put alif, then tanween al-nasb. You pronounce noon, miftahan. But be careful, you don't write it. This is wrong. Let's go to tanween al-dam or tanween al-rafa'. You have to say miftahun. Again, I pronounce noon with dhamma, but wrong to write it this way. This is wrong. You don't add noon. The last tanween is tanween al-jar or tanween al-kasr. you will pronounce it مفتاح. There is double kasra below. There is no noon. I pronounced noon but didn't write it. So do مفتاحا, مفتاح, مفتاح. It's pronounced but not written. And this will be applied on any noun you choose. Any noun is accepting the three kinds of tanween, and the same pronunciation will go for tanween al-nasb, an, and tanween al-dam, un, and tanween al-kasr, in. And now let's have an activity for that, which we call it in Arabic تدريب. As you can see in this table, I have noun in English, all the words in English, then al-ism, which is the same nouns in Arabic. Then you have to add tanween al-nasb, accusative nunation, tanween al-rafa', nominative nunation, tanween al-jar, governed nunation. Actually, I have the answers in the next slide, so I recommend you to pause the video, try to work on this. Once you are finished, you can check the next slide, which I will explain it for you, and you can check your answers. How can you get from them? Let's start with the first word, ball, كرة. تنوين النصب كرة. تنوين الرفع كرة. تنوين الجر كرة. So كرة, كرة, كرة. Let's move to the second word, which is house, بيت. تنوين النصب will be بيتاً. Did you notice here I had to add alif, my assistant alif, then I put تنوين النصب above, بيتاً. تنوين الرفع بيت. تنوين الجر بيتين. Next, fox, which means ثعلب. If I want to add تنوين النصب, again, I notice the last letter is ba, so here I need assistant. I will put alif, then تنوين النصب. ثعلبا. تنوين الرفع ثعلب. تنوين الجر ثعلب. Next word, cat, which means قطة. If you can notice, this word is ending with تاء مربوطة. And as I mentioned before, if the word is ending with تاء مربوطة, I don't need any alif as assistant. I just put تنوين النصب directly up above the letter تاء. It will be قطة. And then تنوين الرفع قطة. The last one, تنوين الجر قطة. The last word is sky, which means سماء. Here, the word is ending with alif and hamza, so that helps me to predict that I need to put this tanween directly above hamza. I don't need to any assistant or alif because the word already ending alif and hamza. So with تنوين النصب, it will be سماء. تنوين الرفع سماء. And تنوين الجر سماء. Hopefully you got them all correctly. If not, you can keep practicing and that will improve your ability to know the tanween in all three types. That's all for our lesson today. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and until next time, salam.